To welcome our visitors, and I'll just say those online, since there are none in the chamber. I now call to order the February 3rd, 2022 regular Board of Aldermen meeting. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Alderman Ross.
Richard.
Here.
Alderman Morose. I see her. Alderman Schuman.
Here.
Alderman Becker.
Here.
Alderman Rucker.
Here.
Alderman Osteen.
Here.
Mayor Albery.
Here. All right, we do have a quorum. First item of business is the communications from the mayor, and I have nothing this evening. So we'll move on to citizens' communication. This is time set aside on the agenda for citizens and visitors to address the mayor and board on any topic that is not a public hearing, and there is a public hearing on tonight's agenda. For those here in person, speakers will be restricted to 3 minutes unless otherwise permitted. Minutes may not be donated or transferred from one speaker to another. Visitors attending via online will be in listen-only mode. Any questions or comments for the mayor and board may be sent to the city clerk at tberreth@osagebeach.org no later than 10 a.m. on the board meeting date, which is the first and third Thursday of each month. Submitted questions and comments may be read during citizen communication section of the agenda. The Board of Aldermen will not take action on any item not listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to questions, although staff may be directed to respond at a later time. The Mayor and Board of Aldermen do welcome and value input and feedback from the public. Just for the public record, there is no one in chamber this evening to make comments to the board, so we then will move on to our first item of business, which is the approval of the consent agenda. If the board desires, the consent agenda may be approved by a single motion. Tonight's agenda consists of the minutes of the January 20th, 2022 Board of Aldermen meeting, the February 3rd, 2022 bills list, and a liquor license for Nick's True Value Hardware. Alderman Morose, is the liquor license in order?
Yes, Mayor, thank you, it is.
All right. If that being the case, then are there any questions or comments or proposed revisions? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I motion to approve.
Alderman Schuman and Alderman Becker was second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The consent agenda is approved. We'll move on now to unfinished business. Tonight's unfinished business requests a second reading by title only of ordinance number 22.03, an ordinance of the city of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to sign a new 12-month agreement for the city's voice over IP phone system for an amount not to exceed $27,120. The first reading was approved at the January 20th board meeting. Are there any comments from the city administrator?
No additional comments.
Are there any questions from the board? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve second reading?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Ross and second, Alderman Rucker. Roll call, please.
Alderman Schuman.
Approve? Or yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Becker.
Yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
All right, the second reading passes. We move on now to new business. Our first item is a public hearing on special use permit 412, requesting a residential use on a property zoned C1 general commercial. City planners report, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
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 Very good. Okay, so tonight what I have for you is a request by Bruce Christie to get a special use permit to establish and build a residential use on a property that is located within a commercial zoning district. This particular piece of property is a single parcel that is housed to 2 lots that is in a 6-lot subdivision at the end of Redbud Road. This entire corridor from the Osage Beach Parkway all the way out to the lake is zone commercial. It's a situation that it was zone commercial in 1986 when we did our overall zoning for the city. Certainly it's a situation to where the ideology was it was in our most intense area of the lake, so they basically zoned the portion from Highway 54 at the time all the way out to the lake, general commercial in between Topsider and then the condos at the end, which at the time were Marina Bay. This particular piece of property is located, as I said, in a small 6-lot subdivision, it housing 2 of those lots in itself. The other 4 lots within the subdivision have developed as residential. And quite candidly, the only reason that this particular piece would be good for commercial use would be as part of an overall redevelopment of the properties in the area, not just that single lot. So with that, Mr. Christie came in, asked if he could put a residential townhome on there with 2 units. It is 2 lots, which could allow 2 single-family units. But if you took a look at the area around the lots themselves are very small and they're kind of oddly placed in there. All of the homes that are on those would be considered legal non-conforming as they don't meet setback requirements on any of them. Actually, that we've seen 3 of them that required special use permits and variances to add on to their homes in the past. With that in mind, I took this to the Planning Commission with a recommendation to approve, and they forwarded it to you tonight with a recommendation to approve.
All right, thank you very much. As mentioned earlier, there is no one in chamber, so the representative or the applicant is not here. Before I open the public hearing, are there any questions from the board? Seeing none, I now open the public hearing. And again, since no one is here to make comment, the public hearing is now closed. And we move on to our next item, which is requesting a motion to approve special use permit 412 BAC LLC. Bruce Christie is requesting residential use on a property zoned C1. City Planner.
Yes, the only thing that I would go ahead and say is that we do recommend approval of this with the conditions that are listed within the report.
All right, thank you very much. Questions or comments from the board? Yes, Alderman Ross.
So Kerry, my question is road access, and I know just a little bit about this property. Sorry, I haven't been down there to look at it, but is there a private road to it? Is the road going to need to be paved for him to utilize it this way? How does that work?
No, okay, so basically what is going to happen, there is a private road that goes down and fronts it. It is the road that was platted in there when they platted the 6-lot subdivision, and it will serve this particular piece of property with a driveway off of the main road. Now, it's not a city street, so basically he as an owner will now have some of the requirement to help keep the road in condition along with the other neighbors, but that's how that would typically work.
Well, I know that if it's a commercial use, we usually, depending on the kind of use, we tend to ask for paid parking and so forth. So when we're using this as residential in a commercial area with a special use, how does that affect it at all?
It does not affect it. What we do is we put it in with the regulations of the R1B zone.
So does that mean he doesn't need to pave anything?
He does not need to pave any parking. He will be able to put in parking like you would put in a residential neighborhood.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, do I have a second? Alderman Becker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Our next item, request a motion to approve the purchase of a Top View alarm dialer software license and integrated services for the replacement of existing Win 911 alarm dialer software from Electronic Controls Company for an amount not to exceed $13,762. City Administrator.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board, Kevin is not here tonight, so I'm going to try to explain this, although he did a good job in his comments. So our SCADA system is what our alarm system that calls in assistance or help after hours, during hours for our lift stations and water wells. We don't have everything on there, but the big major lift stations and water wells on. And we do have planned in our capital planning process that in 2023, we were going to do some major SCADA upgrades, but this piece of the equipment is not functioning, and it's been determined that it cannot be replaced, or it needs to be replaced, sorry, that it can't be fixed. So this is unbudgeted. However, like Kevin explained, we do really need to get this done this year, not wait till the 2023 upgrades, although this will not intrude on any of those plans. It's just doing this piece earlier. A budget amendment does follow that I've put on. He is requesting to transfer money that had pegged for lift station improvements, which is 600 and something thousand, to use a little bit of this and then monitor that line item throughout the year so we can go ahead and get the SCADA up and running as it's intended to for the after-hour calls.
All right, thank you very much. Are there questions from the board? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve first reading?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Rucker, Alderman Schuman is the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The first reading is approved. We move on to the second reading by title only. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I skipped down. All right. We move on now to our next item, which is requesting a first and second reading of Bill Number 22-04, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending ordinance number 2178, adopting the 2022 annual budget, transfer funds for necessary expenses. City Administrator, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board. So this is a direct relationship to the motion that you just approved. I am asking for first and second reading as well. That way I don't hold them up on their actual purchase.
All right, thank you very much. Questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve first reading?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, second. Alderman Ross. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? First reading passes. Second reading by title only of ordinance number 22.04, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending ordinance number 2178, adopting the 2022 annual budget, transfer of funds for necessary expenses. Are there any additional comments from the City Administrator?
No additional comments.
Are there any additional questions from the board? With none, is there a motion to approve the second reading?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, second. Alderman Schuman. Roll call, please.
Alderman Ross,
Yes.
Alderman Osteen,
Yes.
Alderman Rucker,
Yes.
Alderman Becker,
Yes.
Alderman Morose,
Yes.
Alderman Schuman,
Yes.
All right, the second reading passes. We move on to our final item for this evening, which is a discussion on the mission statement modification. City Administrator, please.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board. So several months ago, well, actually starting last year, you all had indicated during your strategic planning that this was one of the items that should be addressed. At the end of the year, we did have several staff members, including Alderman Becker, that joined us, that reviewed the mission statement, kind of went around with, City Hall to see, kind of what staff would think. We did do a community survey that did delay us a little bit on moving this forward. I did email you those results, should that have changed anything with the mission statement. And as presented in my summary sheet, there were 4 options that the committee came up with or nailed down to. I've presented those, and I've also attached the last mission statement that was ratified by the board in 2020. Changing or modifying or doing no modifications is totally up to the board. This is your mission statement, the city's mission statement. There was just a few tweaks that they recommended. So I just need direction on how you would like to proceed. Should you want more information? And do you want to entertain some options to change the statement?
All right, I guess at this point, it'd be comments from the board. It appears that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, recommendations to change if the board elects one of the four. Comments, please.
I like number B.
You like B?
Yes, sir. And also, the alderman in chamber, if you could speak a little bit more into your mic, because I was having a problem hearing you. Thank you.
Okay.
Does that matter?
Yeah, it does.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I
Alderman?
concur with B.
Okay.
I had actually selected B too.
Oh, really? Okay.
B.
Tyler?
B.
Anyone else?
I like C, so I'm the dissenting comment.
I'm sorry, Bob?
I said I'm leaning towards C, but I'll go with the majority.
Okay. Richard?
Well, I think that these are improvements on what we have. I think they leave a lot for improvement. Generally, mission statements are short, concise, and far-reaching. And to be quite honest, I think we can improve upon this. Anything more than one sentence is probably too long. And I mean, I once said in passing, something along the lines of the best place to visit, work, and live, and move on, and figure out how to do that. These things are, while they're all encompassing, I don't think that, from what I've gathered, what little bit of work I did on vacation, this was the one thing I looked up, and these don't follow that. And so at this point, while I could support one as better, I haven't spent a lot of time trying to pick out one versus the other. I think there's still work to be done.
Well, this certainly is a discussion item right now. The rest of the board, Richard, if you feel like that there's something that you would like to submit for the board's consideration, we can certainly do that at a different, at a different board meeting. This is strictly just a discussion item, this evening. How does the rest of the board feel? Do you all feel like that what has been presented, and I know Bob said you were leaning more towards C than B, but everyone else was in favor of B. We can bring this back to you at a future meeting if you all would like to take a look at other or alternative recommendations.
I really honestly think since there's a little bit of discrepancy, then we should wait and discuss it later.
Okay, Alderman Becker?
Yeah, the only thing I have to say is the research I did didn't necessarily say they should be short. That was certainly an option. So if somebody else has something a lot more concise, I could be good with that, or I'm good with B.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Alderman Rucker.
Yes, I don't necessarily know that it has to be shortened. I think it needs to be encompassing, and I think that these do. I think that the committee did a real good job, and I'm ready to move forward on B and go from there. And if at a future date, we've got something that comes along, we can do something then. But I think we should move forward with B and go forward.
It's just discussion. Okay, well, since this is an item for discussion, let's do this. If anyone else has anything that they would like to submit for consideration by the board, our next board meeting is the 17th. If that's too early for you all, let me know, and we can move it to the first meeting in March. Otherwise, we can put it on as an agenda item on the 17th board meeting, and we can make a decision at that time. Thoughts on that?
Sounds good, Mayor, and I think the next meeting ought to be fine. We don't need to be belaboring this. And I think we each have a little intricate, trivial thing to change or whatever, but it's all for the good, and I say the 17th will be fine.
All right. Then what I would ask you to do is then, if you would have to the city administrator, oops, you're on vacation, aren't you?
Just for a few days.
You're on vacation for a few days. We have to have this in, you go on vacation starting on the 9th. Tell you what, so that we can get it on the agenda, or is this something that you can have Tara?
Yeah, they can.
Okay. Tell you what, let's do.
Email Tara.
Let's shoot to have your recommendations addressed to the city administrator by the 7th, if not by the 9th. Have them sent to Tara, and that way that will give us plenty of time. We put the, as you all know, we put the agenda together by the Friday before the meeting. So if you have it to us by the 9th, we can get your recommendations included in the packet. Does that sound fair enough to everyone?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, sounds good then. All right. We will move forward then. Right at this point, we're to communications. We start with communications from members of the board. Alderman Ross, welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. Glad to be back in some ways. But that's all I have. Everybody, let's get everybody out of here quick. No reason to spend a lot of time.
Alderman Morose.
You know, I think we all concur that we are all so blessed and thankful for our workers that are out there diligently and working many hours and keeping the roads safe. And I just think, you know, that's all I say is our city appreciates everything that they do. Thank you.
All right, Alderman Osteen.
Just be safe and travel if necessary.
All right.
That's all.
Alderman Becker.
I have nothing.
Alderman Schuman.
I have nothing.
Alderman Rucker.
I have nothing.
City Administrator.
Well, I do want to thank our public works. They've been busy. Police have been out freezing as well. And dispatch, they were all worried if they could get home, but we've accommodated. And Ron had some help today. Him and Carrie Patterson and Brian Salerno shoveled all the sidewalks and everything for the few of us that did make it in the last couple of days. So it has been quiet here, but all phones have been answered and work's been taking place. So thank you.
All right, City Attorney.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
City Clerk.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Chief.
Nothing.
City Planner.
I'm just looking for somebody to help me out of bed in the morning. That's all I have.
Well, I'm not going to touch that one, Carrie. I mean, I could, but
I'm too
I know
old to
this
shovel
meeting is,
snow,
this
Mayor.
meeting is being
Building official.
tuned into by who knows who. All right, airports. Building official.
I did just want to take a moment and thank all the folks that helped with the snow removal. There was one person that wasn't noted, and because Gina didn't know about it, Floyd Handy downstairs in the ambulance actually cleared out everything in the back.
Sorry,
When we got
Floyd.
around to there, it had already been done. So without these guys, I think I'd still be out there shoveling. So really appreciate it, and to Public Works for coming over and taking care of the parking lots. That's all.
All right, well, thank you, everyone, for your attendance at tonight's meeting, especially those who braved, coming into the meeting here at City Hall. Our business for this evening is complete, and we're adjourned. Thank you all very much. Have a great evening.